Hello. I wanted to give you all a good opportunity here to understand the process that is required to be elected as a fellow. Believe it or not, we are preparing for the Antec in 2019 already. It happens pretty quickly, and this is the first stage. Actually, it has been happening before this, preparing for the election of fellows for 2019. So the agenda today will be very straightforward. We're looking at just some basic introductory information. The purpose, of course, is pretty clear to help you understand the fellow process. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail describing what is a fellow and what it isn't, the criteria required, and the actual process. One of the big parts of the whole process I'll be describing is the actual deadlines that will be occurring. Okay, and in any event, I guess we should start getting into the presentation itself. So let's start by simply saying that I am William Hart. Okay, I am the chairman of the Fellow Selection Committee, and the committee and I are responsible for electing fellows based on the application's completeness, important, filed on time, important, and obviously the content is extremely important. Let me explain a little bit more about who I am. I was elected fellow in 2007, and I was awarded in 2008 the fellowship, okay, to the organization. And I am honored fellow because I had honored service member in 1998. So I've been doing a lot of stuff with the SB for a long time. That's what it kind of says. I am currently a counselor for the vinyl plastics division of it, and I've been on council for continuously, and it's kind of hard for even me to believe, for over 20 years as either counselor for the vinyl division of Chicago section, or I've been on the executive committee of the SPE. So in any event, I also strangely have a job, a day job where I kind of have to earn my money. I'm a technical director for Velsical Chemical. We make plasticizers and other additives for the polymers in plastic. So the purpose really is to try and familiarize those who are really not familiar with a fellow. Because somebody will say, oh, you should be a fellow. Well, what is it then that is a fellow? I'll describe that a little bit better. And the process obviously is very important. The application development, the timetable, critical results. Well, what happens after all this is done by the nominee and all the other folks involved? What happens? And then ultimately the reporting of that results to the people with nominations, and then follow-up. Ultimately, it'll be the awards at the 2019 Antec. So let's talk about what is a fellow, all right? It's a technical honor, all right? It's not a service honor because you've been 20 years on the board of directors of some vinyl division or something like, for example, doesn't matter. That's just the service member, honor service member. This is a technical honor focused on technical accomplishments, okay? Generally, what we're looking for is things that move the industry in a particular technical segment, or more than one, if that's what happens, if you're a particular nominee. So if it can show, but we have to show clear, superior step changes, if you like, in the plastic industry, or quantum leaps, if you like that terminology better. That's what you're looking for. All right. Part of the description is describing the qualifications. We look about documentation to support the claims within the accomplishments, on the accomplishments, okay? Publications, title pages, and they're going to talk about that. There's been some changes about that since previous years. Patents are always really a good bet. They show uniqueness, okay? Because generally to get a patent, there has to be something different, something unique that's a change too. Okay, that's kind of good. But you can also be involved in management groups that provide these technical step changes, because that's also part of the process, okay? But here's the important part, all right? This is really important, what I'm gonna say here. We are not experts on the committee in everything that comes to our way. Oh, that's very true. But half of us are academic, half of us are industry. Okay, so it's not one or the other. It's not strictly academia that's judging, or it's not strictly industry. We have to judge on what is presented in front of us. So it has to be simple and concise. Absolute must. There's no excuse or anything but that, all right? It has to be. So this is, and again, I have to keep on saying this again and again, it's not a service recognition. Well, it's admirable, and we like people who are donating their time and efforts within the SPE to help the organization succeed. Well, it's not that. And the other things that are really important, and we'll go into it again because part of teaching about it is going to be repeating, and I'm going to be repeating myself a bit here. The process champion, very important. He's the person who will help the nominee to go through the whole thing and make sure everything is done right and on time and everything else. Division critique, it could be more than one division, it could be even a section. It's really important because they know the technology and they can communicate to the committee, well, what do they see, all right? Sponsor statements, oh, they can make all the difference in the world. You don't want somebody saying, well, I've known Joe or Jane for 100 years and they really have done a great job. They're good old guys and gals, but that's not it. Okay, that's not. What is the sponsor saying about the work that has been done? So there have been some changes though, in response to people over the years asking for different things as it goes. Not all the title pages are required, as it has been in the past. We know it's a pain doing that. You got 600 publications, well, that's not so easy. Okay, so what we wanted to do is change it such that all these title pages for the publications, patents, papers, books, chapters, and that are directly supporting the applications that are being cited within the particular documentation provided. And that's the applicant's choice, okay? It's whatever it's thought to be the best opportunity to support the achievements. Now, you know, you can easily provide a list of all the publications, and we certainly would welcome that. Not necessary, but we recommend you do that, okay? And there is also another focus that has been shifting. For example, I'm not an engineer. I'm a chemist, a scientist, right? I was elected because of accomplishments within the industry. So we're going to be talking more about plastics professionals, not specifically just engineers. Engineers are extremely important within our industry. There's no maybes about that part, okay? It's actually been a focus in the past, but it has been never been specifically stated. We're saying it now. And the other thing, because of some other comments we've seen in the past too, is that the SP can work with applicant, provide support from any organization within the SPE. Okay, as long as they do what is outlined in the application. It doesn't have to be a SIG, doesn't have to be a division, could be a section. But for example, the New Jersey Palisades section has a very final focus, and they certainly have enough professionals there to be able to do the whole process besides division. Of course, many of those guys are in that area. Well, they are vinyl division too. But anyway, just want to emphasize that point. So let's go to the application. Now, what I did here, and I'm not going to go over this piece by piece, there's just a lot there. I actually cut and paste from the Word document for the division. And I also made some of the changes that I wrote into the application this year, and I'll highlight those. But it's obviously just the table of contents. Purpose, again, is to providing the assistance with this particular grade of plastic engineer society system here that we're talking about, is to help with this, to provide the guidance. That's a big part of the application. The qualifications, we know, but the bylaws talks about the various pieces of the committee and time in the organization and membership and the certain that to exceed 5%. Well, I can guarantee you, we're not anywhere close to 5% of the voting members in good standing in society. Not even close. Maybe 1.5% or something like that. So we're okay with that. But we talked about eligibility. Okay, we talked about the various things that are required already, and that is in the application. And by the way, I think it's really important that you do download, and I'll talk more about downloading that in a bit, the application, read it through completely if you're considering going for fellow or the sponsoring organization, so they completely understand. Many organizations, for example, Vinyl, have put in a lot of applications for both on service as well as the fellows, okay? But it should be familiarize yourself so that you understand it in case of any changes. Now, so this next section of the application talks about the various pieces of the process, okay? The process champion, the various forms that need to be filled out and all that kind of stuff. That's what this describes, this next section here within the application. We talk about, now, I didn't put other chapters such as sections here, but that certainly, as I said earlier, is okay. In my case, the Chicago section and the Vinyl division sponsored me. Okay, I failed the first time around because only the Chicago section put in the sponsorship and all that. So it really was a benefit to have the focus group, the vinyl plastics division, work with the section to help me become elected, and they did. Okay, the process champion is very important. I had some very good process champions from the vinyl plastics division. Helps you a lot, and that needs to be taken care of. And they really just follow the whole thing through. Now, this is an important slide because it tells you what you need: completed application, nomination form, basically a resume. We'll talk more about that. All the supporting documentation, the sponsor statements should be 2, and the critique. Those are the pieces. All right. Now, this year, because Antec's a little bit earlier, next year in 2019, we need all the completed deadlines by the deadline is October 1st. The completed application has to be submitted electronically, not paper, electronically by October 1st of this year. Now, what I do, as soon as we get all these pieces in, I will review for completeness, all the applications that are put in. That's my first job in October, to be working on doing just that. And then I will submit back to anybody who's got missing or incomplete information, give them a chance to finish up and look at what's done. That deadline is October 31st. So there's some types of slippage there, but hopefully everything will go quickly and smoothly, and hopefully by October 1st, everything will be incomplete. Okay, that's what we hope. But it is my job as chair to do that. All right. Then I will be submitting to the entire Fellows Committee by November. All right. And based on their review, because all the people on the committee take it very seriously, they go through everything, every applicant, try best to understand it. They will start through the process by actually scoring on whether the applicant is acceptable or not for fellowship. And then we meet on December 10th to go over all these nominations, all these stuff, try and figure out what is best. I tend to be a very hard grader, but I can certainly go ahead and accept, without a doubt, changes if I can be convinced to move. And we talk that, so it's a give and take at this meeting. It really is, because everybody knows what they're doing. We do it very nicely and quickly, and they give the fairest results we possibly can. We can guarantee that. We do. And then after we get done with our decisions, we forward it to the executive board of the SPE for endorsement, and that'll happen in January. All right. And based on everybody, all this processes, the results will be forwarded before the Antec, whether it's a positive or negative. Okay. And we'll explain, if it is a negative, why it's so. But there will be certificates and pins awarded at the Antec in 2019 for all the successful candidates who have been elected. All right. So the submittal process is electronic. Okay, you can go to Kathy Scheck at the SPE by email, no doubt. Okay, there's no problem with that. Or you can submit it on these things on a USB drive, also to Kathy via mail on a USB drive, though. It needs to be electronic. And of course, the applications are on the website. They can download it, which I would strongly urge you to do sooner than later, because of the simple fact that electronic submission is required. Now, I'm not going to go over the rest of the forms very much, because it becomes pretty obvious: the name of the nominee, the sponsors, okay, the process champion, who that is, all right, who is nominating, the signatures, final division chair, president of section, okay, and then the professional record, which is the responsibility primarily of the nominee, all right, and that's fundamentally a resume. Okay, everything that we would put into a resume. So yeah, you can certainly put all the things like your publications and significant achievements along the way in your professional development, but one page is best for a resume. You have an opportunity to do this way. There's no reason to try to write 30 pages worth of resume. All it does is slow down things and bog it down, and your message is lost if it's too many words. Should be concise. That's very important. Concise. Experts can write concise explanations. We look for that. All right. So we should be able to do that. Now, This is just more of the form itself, the sequential putting in there. And this is the important piece. This is the important piece. Achievements. And you can see what we're looking for here. Step changes, quantum leaps within the industry, okay, that move the industry somehow, and explain what that is. And quantify it in one way or another, whatever that way is best to explain what that particular situation is. But again, this is critical, concise, not pages worth for each one. I mean, I'm dead serious about that because I've seen that come in by confusing us, trying to just put so much into it. It's put in technical details, stuff that you're writing a paper. No, concise definition. That's what we're looking for. And then we talked about this already. We're not looking for all of the backup papers and stuff and titles and all that kind of good stuff. We're looking for stuff that supports your achievements. And then if there's certain biological stuff that we're looking for, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Just filling that out. That's just stuff that's typically required. Now the sponsor statement. This also describes to the sponsors what they need to do. I'll give you an overview. Basically, not that they're good people, that they're really nice friends and all that kind of stuff. Yes, nice, but that's not the point. You know that what their work is. You understand what their work is, and you can recommend them based on what your understanding of their work was. Well, okay, that's what you got to do as a sponsor. And there's some examples. Yeah, and it's what the do's and don'ts are very clear. For example, yeah, you're a member of some civic group. Yeah, that's interesting. It doesn't count, And there's a whole bunch of other things that don't count. Technical achievements count. And it just talks more to the sponsor here in this next section of the application on how to outline and to do a sponsor statement. And then the sponsor statement itself, part of the forms. And then the critique. Well, this has got to be somebody who's been an expert in the field, who understands what your work is. And he can understand that, take that information, his understanding or her understanding of what you've done, and to take that and interpret it so they can do a proper job of saying, yes, all these things fit together. Yes, these are great technical achievements based on what we understand within the division or section. So again, we're just talking about, again, telling the people who are doing the critique what to look for. So this follows. It's generally about a page. It tells who it is signed up by who writes the critique. So anyway, okay, that's pretty much the process. You know the dates you have to meet to become a fellow, to go into the whole process. But it is a person, a fellow of the SPE is a person who has created step changes for the industry. All right, that would actually be plastics or polymer industry. Okay, to be more specific. And a fellow is elected, a fellow not based on contributions to a volunteer to the society or any other group. Doesn't matter. It's interesting. It's good to do, but not important here. The October 1st deadline is critical because of all you see the other steps that are required to happen along the way. Okay, so that October 1st is important. And step changes. I keep on saying this, be concise. Lots of words will not ensure election. Less is better. Concise, less is better. Describe what's necessary. Yeah, you got to work with your division SIGs or chapters of such as also the sections, okay? But work with them. Recognize who they are. Work with the people that can help you with their concise statements about what you can do when you work with these people. Yeah, the section could certainly contribute, but you still have to follow the same process that is written in the application. All right, I guess that's about it. I am available for questions through the SBE. So Kathy can do it. You can send emails to her directly, and she will always reroute them to me, and we can answer them directly as it goes. And I guess that's the best way to look at it. But if you have any questions after this, listening to this webinar, and you would like to talk about it further, I'm also available as chair of the election committee. I will certainly do that. Anybody who wants to be elected, to give them some advice based on what I know, and I can do that. All right. But just let us know if you have any questions. But follow the guidelines. Look at the applications, understand them. This is it. This will get you there. If you have the achievements, you have a good opportunity to be elected. All right. Well, that's it for now. Goodbye.